Lest we forget, the remnant is only available to those who have the book and the DVD, The Concealed Mystery of Iniquity. To get the remnant, you must have the book and the DVD called The Concealed Mystery of Iniquity. So, welcome back to the continuing series of Roll Call, and we're on roll call number 4. And remember, if you're watching this roll call series, in order to understand everything we are saying, you have to watch it from the part 1, and you also have to watch the videos that we recommend that you watch to fully understand everything. A lot of the things that we're saying is not going to make any sense to you at all, because even though we might be speaking over a lot of stuff, it's because people are not interested in truth, so they will not fully understand this, because you don't have books and you don't have the DVDs that we do recommend that you should watch, because the things we talk about there are not things that we can talk about on YouTube, because it's more like classified information if you really want to know. So let's get started on roll call with a continuing series to see who will be the presidential checks that we'll be doing along the way also. So let's go. So the next person on a roll call is Robin from the group that was called the Bee Gees. If you've watched a movie, I think that movie's got John Travolta in it. It's called Saturday Night Fever. It's Saturday Night Fever, something like that. There's a song in there that's very, very popular. It's been very, very popular for a very long time. It's called Staying Alive. Stayed Alive, something like that. And that's the group that we're looking at. But the only person in the group who was not the gender that they claimed goes by the name of Robin. Robin of the Bee Gees, and this is the one on this left-hand side. Now, we've taken a look at the other members of the Bee Gees, and they check out to be the gender they claim. For example, right here, we're looking at Barry. What we do think about Barry's voice could be that Barry himself was chemically castrated, or he was castrated because of the sound of his voice, which had a very high pitch, which is reminiscent of castratos. So there's no way we can verify that for sure, but we do know that Barry is indeed a man and not a female in any way. So you can see right here, you can see that his hip position right here is above his crotch, because this is how all males are. So you can see right here in this example, all right, that a man's Q angle, the angle between the hip and the knee, which slides inwards, all right, starts above the crotch. It doesn't start below. It's showing you here that Barry is 100% male. This is his hip, that's his crotch, hip above the crotch. We also did check out the other member of the Bee Gees, and they checked out to be male, but for Robin here, I think Robin was one of the members that died. We don't quite remember the story, but Robin here is actually female. Let's continue with some more pictures of Robin of the Bee Gees. And here is another picture of Robin. As you can see, those arms, right? You can see those arms are hugging the contours of the body and following it. because Robin of the Bee Gees here was 100% female and not a man in any way, shape, or form. Let's go to some more pictures of Robin. And here is Robin again. As you can see, when she puts his hands around his body, as usual with all females, when you put your arms in this position that Robin has it, you will notice from underneath your elbows, you start spreading wider. And this is what Robin Gibbs of the Bee Gees is exhibiting, because Robin here is 100% female. As you can see, she starts spreading wider, right, from underneath those elbows, and it's not going straight up and down as a man should be to his hips. Even by the way she's wearing this particular pant, you can actually see that there is a tilt in that pelvis. If you take a good look at it, you'll notice that this is a tilt at the tilt of a female pelvis, because Robin here is 100% female. Let's go to some other pictures of Robin. And here is Robin again. As you can see, it starts showing you that the Q angle, all right, and the widest point in the hips is below the crotch. You can see right there, below the crotch. You can actually see this Q angle, it's below the crotch, because Robin Gibbs is 100% female. And as you can see, the arms of Robin Gibbs are following the contours of the body. That female manner of carrying the arms is what Robin Gibbs is exhibiting here, because Robin Gibbs is 100% female. Let's go to another picture of Robin Gibbs. And one thing we always want to show you, like we showed you earlier with the woman called Andrea Holland, is that the way a woman acts is because of her skeletal structure. It's because of her genetics. Genetics is your skeleton, all right? So people always get confused when they hear that word genetics. They think about it something like DNA, which, you know, the fake medical system wants you to believe that there's such a thing as DNA, chromosomes. Those things do not exist. The only thing that does exist are your bones for the human body. That's about it. So whenever you hear genetics, I want you to understand what it's talking about. Your bones. When they say you have good genetics, it means you have good bones. That's what the medical system actually says. Because here's how tricky the medical system is. On pictures, maybe when you get online and you type in DNA, you see some sort of pictures showing you some sort of drawings. If you tell them, show me your DNA under a microscope, they'll tell you they need a certain type of microscope to see it. It's all nonsense, because DNA and chromosomes don't exist. The only thing that does exist in the human body is the sperm and a female ovum. That's about it. So anything they say DNA, that they can do this with DNA and all that, it's all nonsense. All what they're doing is what they call crossbreeding. It's been done for a very long time. If you went through the school educational system and you were taught biology, basics of biology, they would teach you such things as crossbreeding. All right? Crossbreeding, that means you take a certain kind of species of plant, all right, and you breed it with another species of the same plant to produce some sort of favorable attributes that you want from that plant. It's all crossbreeding. It's nothing that they go under a microscope and then take out a DNA from your hair or your body and then implant in something else and that works. It's all lies. It's bullshit. It does not exist. The only thing the medical system does is crossbreeding. They crossbreed animals. They take the sperm and ovum of different animals and try to breed it together for favorable attributes. It's the same thing you can do with a human being, but it is not possible to do so with a human being, because the sperm and the egg do not exist outside of the body less than, let's say, 8 hours. It's only viable for like 8 hours. You can't do anything in 8 hours. So the medical system completely lies to you. Do they crossbreed people in their laboratories? Yes, they do. Where do you think all the people who go missing year after year, where do you think they go to? The government steals them and uses them as lab rats to crossbreed and do all sorts of nonsense. And when they come out here and they tell you that they've been doing something else and tell you lies like DNA and chromosomes. It does not exist. The only thing that does exist is crossbreeding. That's why the government is busy collecting your information. So when you get on a computer and you give them all the information that you have about yourself, the type of diseases that you've had throughout the years, what you eat, what your diet, what your interest is, from all that they can pick anybody that they think is favorable for their laps. And one day you go missing, or your child goes missing, and they never come back, because the government is going to groom them to use them for whatever they want to use. There are drugs that they can give you that you can stay hooked on, that you won't even remember your name. It's called THC, marijuana. THC. If you give enough THC to an individual, the person will be existing in a state of dream-like existence. They won't be able to differentiate between what's real and what's not. And if you have a handler who can tell them what to do at all times, they will do so, and they will not even remember what they did. Because once they start thinking about what they did, it's going to seem like it was a dream. How do we know all this? Because we ourselves have studied the effects of THC at a very high dose. It is totally a drug that can manipulate the mind at a certain quantity beyond what you need. So there's no such thing as DNA. There's no such thing as chromosomes. Once you hear the stupid medical jargon of DNA and chromosomes, just know it's talking about your skeleton. Your genetics are your skeleton. So getting back to Robin Gibb here, as you can see that the way Robin Gibb right here is bending her neck, because it's actually a her. You can see that it's all feminine. Here's another member of the Bee Gees doing the same thing, and you can see that it's all masculine, the demeanor, while this is all feminine, because your skeleton is your genetics. And if you can't change your skeleton, you have been busy obeying a demon, because people don't understand this. I need to say this over and over again so people will get this. The reason why the families of the earth who control the world and run it through the Vatican and put up so many deceiving faces for you not to see that they are the ones doing so is because it is done by Satanism, and Satanism controls demons. So demons are being imputed into the world in every single thing. So demons control every aspect of your life. If you do not have any filter, we are talking about the true filter here, the true filter of the Creator. We're not talking about Jesus, because Jesus is not his name. His name is not Yehoshua, Yeshua, Yah, Jah, God, Lord, Master, none of that. If you do not have the true filter of the Creator in his commandment, demons will run your life, because the government imputes demons into all inventions that are made by African intelligence. So whenever there's a new invention, what the government does or whatsoever that they do, because at the end of the day, everything that you buy comes from the government. From the bed you sleep on to the underwear, if you're wearing any form of clothing, it comes from your government. So what the government does is that they invoke demons into humanity. That is why they are able to do all what you're doing. So demons are in everything. So when you go to church and your pastor speaks to you in the name of Jesus, he's invoking demons into your life. That's why when you leave church for a few minutes, you feel real good, because it's all demonic energy that you carried out. Same thing when you watch a TV show. Demons are being imputed into your life. Same thing when you're wearing good clothes or wearing something that you like or driving a car or listening to music. Demons are invested in everything. So when a demon takes over a man's mind and continually pushes him to think, all right, in the direction, what does it feel to be like a woman? That's a demon talking to you. And because you have no filter of the Creator, you actually listen to the demon and start believing that you were born in a female's body. The same thing with homosexuality. The government pushes homosexuality because it's demonic energy into the population. So they want everybody to think about homosexuality now, because way back in the day, before they made this thing this popular on TV and everything, people weren't thinking about it. If you heard it, you would just say, oh, you just heard it. But now homosexuality is constant in the thoughts of people because you see it everywhere on TV. So even when you're talking with somebody or speaking with someone, you can now be aware this person could be a homosexual. Is he gay? Because it's all demonic energy. Everything the government does, it does through consortium by pushing demons into the population. That's why they can change history, change times and laws, and be able to do all what you're doing, because they are doing it by the power of demons. And people don't understand this, because people love wickedness. They have pleasures in corruption, wickedness, and immorality. So the demons will constantly be over your mind. That's why the Bible says that the God of this world has blinded the hearts of men. As I'm speaking to you now, demons are constantly at work trying to make you not understand. And how are they doing that? They are using your ego, because you think you know stuff, but you don't know anything. That is the greatest trick of Satanism. They teach you some simple stuff and you think that you know that, but it's all lies. And that stuff is used to control your mind. So, Robin Gibb here is exhibiting a female skeletal structure from his behavior. Because until you can change the skeletal structure of you, you have not changed your gender. So whenever those demons speak to you and make you to be a homosexual, and then from homosexuality, it tells you that you are in the wrong body, go study your Bible. You will see how people were filled of demons. The Creator himself said it. One said he had legions of demons in one person. So when you see people do all the things they do, why do you think they are doing so? They have succumbed to demons because they have refused the knowledge of the Creator. That is what happens to humanity every day. And let me tell you this, everybody is being influenced by a demon. Everybody, except you have the true knowledge of the Creator. A demon will influence your thoughts. It starts with your thoughts, because all the thoughts that's being propagated around you is sent to you by Satan through the government, because the government is in the business of propagating Satanism upon its population so they can control them. So if your thoughts are not in order, you become a part of this matrix of control. You become an enemy to someone who tells you the truth. Unknowingly or knowingly, because you are controlled by demons. You have refused real knowledge. So let's get back to some more pictures of Robin Gibb here. This is a perfect example of showing you the difference between a male pelvic area and a female pelvic area, so you guys can see the difference. Now, if you notice, with Robin Gibb here, you can see that the length of travel of this pelvic area travels so long. And see where the Q angle starts. It's below the crotch, because Robin Gibb here is 100% female. See how long that pelvis is? A man's pelvis will never be that long. So Robin Gibb here is 100% female, and you can see the acute Q angle. the cute Q angle that makes a female to have that hourglass figure from top to bottom. The Q angle is the angle between the hip and the knee, and it's very, very acute for females because of the wider pelvis. And this is what Robin Gibb here is exhibiting, because Robin Gibb is 100% female. So another thing that I want you guys to take notice of is the fact that the Bee Gees here were 3 members of a group, and one of them is transgender, if there's such a thing as transgender. But we say transgender for you guys to understand what we're talking about, because it doesn't actually exist in reality. Because if you can't change your skeleton, you can't change your sex. So all those people who are demonically infused and influenced to go do surgeries to change their physical body and commit wickedness against their own bodies, right? Thinking that they can change their gender. They are just busy living a fantasy. You can't change the skeletal structure. You are the gender that you are till the day you die. And your body's constantly going to be fighting to stay in that gender no matter what you do to it. It will reject the hormones at some point in time. And your state, which you started, will be far more miserable. Because as we've explained, demons control the minds of people all around the world. Demons are in everything, from the clothes you wear to whatever you watch on TV. If you don't have a filter for it, all what you're receiving is demonic thoughts into your life, into your soul. If you study your Bible, you will notice that when the Creator was casting out demons, he asked the demons how many they were, and they said, "We are legion." Do you know how many people make up a legion in the Roman army? 5,000. 5,000 people. So this man was housing over 5,000 demons or more. So if one man can house 5,000 demons, how many do you think there are in the earth? If only 5,000 get into one man, that means there are more demons than there are more human beings living in this world. And it's not just by maybe a couple of thousands. It's more like to every man you have close to like maybe 5 million demons. So you can imagine how much demonic thought and energy. And then the government constantly brings out more demons. All right? Invokes more of them into society. That's why society is the way it is. Because some demons would have been resting somewhere, because they are not all operating in the same place at the same time. When the government constantly kills, commits abominations, wickedness, it invites more demons into society. So from wherever they were resting in, demons are being called upon and driven into society. That's the way society is, the way it is. And people are totally oblivious. Why are they oblivious? Because they pleasure in wickedness, corruption, and immorality, when the only reason why we were here on this earth was to find out our Creator. You are busy enjoying life, not knowing that you're soaking up demons, and then you're wondering why your life is the way it is. Pitiful. But getting back to the subject of what we are trying to say here is that this Bee Gees group is 3 people, because 3 is the number of Satan, the Trinity. Satan is worshipped in these last days as the Trinity of Jupiter, Juno, and Minerva. Those are his names today in this world that he's known by the government. So everything they do must be in worship to this Trinity, to Satan. The names of Satan, of Jupiter, Juno, and Minerva. So that is why the Bee Gees here was a group of 3, with one mutilated female who's actually a female and not a man, but being portrayed to you as a man. Because here is how it goes. According to what the government believes and what they follow after, Jupiter is Satan himself, also known as Zeus in Greek mythology. Juno was also another name of Satan, but they said that this one was a female deity. Now, people, you have to understand this. Female deities only existed as demons, not as angels. So that means Juno, which is being worshipped as a goddess by the government, is actually a demon. I hope you understand this now. So they believe that this deity called Juno was the closest friend of Satan, or the closest companion of Satan in Jupiter. Okay? So they had another goddess that they called Minerva. So since it's a goddess, it means it's a demon. So these two demons of Juno and Minerva are the ones that are the closest to Satan. So if you're worshiping Juno and you're worshiping Minerva, you're indirectly worshiping Jupiter or Zeus. So everything that the government does had to be in worship, because the conduit for them to talk with Satan was always through these demons of Juno and Minerva. So they believe Juno and Minerva were female deities. All right? So this is the reason why the Bee Gees group is constructed this way, that this is actually a woman, but is being portrayed to you as a man. Why is this change necessary? Because when the worship of Jupiter or Zeus, which is Satan, and Juno and Minerva, which is also Satan, but they are believed to be goddesses, was translated into Christianity, they changed Juno to the son of God, which means the son of Satan. It's from the son of God, because that name there was Zeus in the Greek mythology. It is from that son of Zeus that you had Jesus, which now became Jesus. Because the New Testament, as they told you, they said it was written in Greek, right? Now, Jupiter, Satan, was known as Zeus in the Greek language. So when they translated Jupiter, Juno, and Minerva into Christianity, they changed Juno to the son, because they said the son was the closest person to the father. Juno was the closest person to Satan, according to mythology. So they now said, okay, Juno, since you are the son, they called him the son of Zeus under the Greek language which the New Testament was written in. So it became, the son of Zeus now became translated to Jesus. Go, if you know how to study Greek, you will know that. Because remember, the letter J for Juno, even though we're saying Juno, the letter J for Juno did not exist until about 400 or 500 years ago, give or take. So when they translated Juno, the original pronunciation of Juno was Juno. All right? Juno with an I. So they said Juno was now the son of Zeus. So the IU and Zeus became Jesus. From Jesus, later on, it was changed to Jesus. In the same way, they changed Minerva to the Holy Spirit. Because Minerva in Greek mythology was known as the Queen of Heaven. She had so many names, such as Diana. You've probably heard of that name before. Diana of Ephesus in the Bible, that was the Queen of Heaven. You heard Virgin Mary, that's the Queen of Heaven. A demon. So Roman Christianity translated in order to continue worshiping their Trinity, to falsify the religion of Christianity, because the people who were worshiping the Creator, the only Creator of heaven and earth, were becoming a problem through the natural order of government. So they had to overtake and invent a new religion, which is called Christianity, to make those who were worshiping the one Creator of heaven and earth to believe that they were doing the same thing under Christian doctrines, not knowing that they were worshiping Satan. So that is how the Trinity got converted into the Bible. So now people are very confused. They think they are worshiping the Creator, but they are not. They are worshiping Satan. Because there's only one Creator. There is no Father, there is no Son, there is no Holy Spirit. Just one Creator, and He has a name. And you people are not interested in it because you don't care about truth. All you care about is to hear names. And we're not interested in giving you any names. We're interested in making you understand real history, understanding how and why we are in the place that we are here today right now. But you people don't care. All you care about is your little jobs and your little paper checks, and you think you're going to save enough to help you. You're saving up for deception, and you're going to end up being deceived. All right, so let's continue on. So as you can see right here, we did show you the difference between a female pelvis to see how long it is. And you can see that Maurice Gibb here has a straight back. See, the man's butt starts quickly and ends right there, right? See, this is Maurice Gibb's crotch. It ends up here. And we did tell you that the apex point for a man's butt is where his hips is at. Because this is where Maurice Gibb's hips is at. It ends there. That's the apex of that butt. And here is the crotch, because this is male, and this is female in Robin Gibb. Let's continue on. And here's Robin Gibb again. As you can see, that arm swing is swinging towards the contours of the body with the way he walks. And this so-called wife of his, these were two lesbians. Where do they get these children from? Because two females can never have a child. Where did they get the children from? You see how wicked and despicable the government is? That you bring kids into this world just to serve as products, as property to serve your cause. What kind of a life is that? This picture is pretty small. It's very blurry, but this is the best that we could do with picking up just to show you Robin Gibb's arm position on the female waist. See where that arm is? That's the female waist position, which is usually going to be placed. This arm is going to be placed usually above the navel. This is what Robin Gibb is doing right here. And look at how wide the hips are. The Q angle very acute below the crotch, because Robin Gibb is 100% female. And here's Robin Gibb here. And as you can see, Robin Gibb has a female pelvic tilt, which is very evident in this picture. Look at the way she is standing right here, because this is all woman. And look at the pelvic tilt, because a female will never have a straight tummy. The tummy is always going to tilt, because the pelvis of a woman is tilted forward so that a baby can stay inside the womb for the duration of conception before that baby is born. And this is what Robin Gibb is exhibiting right here, a female pelvic tilt forward. So most women will get in the gym and try to work out their tummy and think that it's going to be flat like a man. A woman's tummy will never ever be flat like a man, because you have a pelvic tilt. It's a natural female skeletal structure so that a baby can stay inside the womb and not drop out. Because if your pelvis is straight like a man, a baby has no place to stay. So the female pelvis is tilted forward. And this is what Robin Gibb is exhibiting right here in this picture. A female pelvic tilt. The tilt is leaning forward because Robin Gibb is 100% female. All right, let's go to another picture of Robin Gibb. Same thing right here. You can see that this Q angle is below the crotch because Robin Gibb is 100% female. So this is a very good example of showing you how the transgender clothing is specially made for them to lie to you so you don't see their form. So when people like Steven Spielberg and George Lucas or Bill Gates or the man who invented Apple before he died, because he didn't actually invent Apple, what's his name, Steve Jobs, and the current person who's the president of Apple also, when you see them exhibiting, right, very eccentric behavior and very bad taste in clothing and what they wear, it's because they are trying to cover up their form. They're trying to lie to you. And then what the government has now done is to make sure that they give them very special clothing, designers specially made for them to lie to you about your form, so you do not see that you're looking at a person who is not the gender they claim. This is what the government is doing. Specially designed clothing. Clothing made to deceive you. So as you can see right here, the Q angle of Robin Gibb is very, very acute from right here, because that's below the crotch, because Robin Gibb is 100% female. All right, let's continue on with some more pictures. And here's Robin Gibb again. As you can see, here is night and day, hourglass figure of a woman. Look at this other man right here. They don't exhibit that, but here Robin Gibb does. So this whole Bee Gees group, as we can see right here, as with most of the world performers in music, in television, they are all created and done in the worship of Satan. That's what you have to understand about this whole entire thing. Satanism is practiced at the highest form by the government on the population, and the population soak into it, because the reason for all this is this. According to the words of the Creator, when you deny the Creator, He gives you up to demons. All right? The demons are there to make sure that you end up in the lake of fire, which the government lies to you every day is volcanic eruptions and the earthquakes that you feel. Because people do not understand this, and they will never understand it because they don't care, and we're not interested in making you understand if you don't want to. We don't. People think that we care about anything else, or we're just trying to make sure that you buy something from us. I really don't give two hoots where you go. Our job here is to give you proper information, so when you end up wherever you're going, you'll have no excuse for it. So if you're not concerned about the truth, you think I am going to be bothered about it? No, I know what I know already. We know what we know already. Okay? So this information is for you. So you make of it whatever you want to do with it. Because people refuse common sense, logic, and reasoning. So the reason for the deception is to make sure that those who despise the Creator and keeping His commandments, who have no love for humanity except their belly and their guts, go to the lake of fire. The only reason why you are still alive is because the Creator is hoping that you will open your eyes and understand that there is something wrong with our reality, and that you will pay attention and seek Him. That's the only reason why you're alive. But most people take their lives for granted and get engrossed in wickedness, corruption, and immorality, and they say they are having fun. You've just been marked for death. So that is the reason why all this is happening. So if you're not seeking the truth, you're going to end up in this place which they tell you every day that is just a volcano and an earthquake. It's hell being prepared. And people don't understand that the United States and the Western world is very close, because hell is literal. The government hasn't allowed you to travel down there to see it, but it's very close to the United States. I'm not going to say anything anymore. If you're interested in the truth, you'll find out. Let's continue on. So next on agenda check is the guy called Brian May. Brian May belonged to a very popular, I think, is it a rock or band or so, by the name of Queen. And I believe that Queen was a British band. So we're looking at Brian May, and as you can see, Brian May has a very, very wide, acute Q angle below the crotch, because Brian May here is 100% female. Take a look at this. Crazy curves, as you can see. Wide hips below the crotch, because Brian May is 100% female. Let's go to another picture. Here's Brian May again, and she's trying to lie to you. But the cute Q angle and this wide hips, which is below the crotch, don't worry about the special design clothing right here, meant to make you believe that the crotch is right around here. No, it's not. It's right up here. And that's where Brian May's Q angle starts, because Brian May is 100% female and not a man. And here's another picture of Brian May right here. As you can see, widest Q angle. All right? Widest point in the hip. And look at the acute Q angle. The angle between the hip and the knee. Widest point is below the crotch, because Brian May is 100% female. Another man in any way. Let's go to another picture of Brian May. And here's Brian May right here with Adam Lambert. All right? Adam Lambert is also a female and not a man. So when Adam Lambert is lying to you every day that he's just a homosexual, he's actually lying, because he's not one. He's actually a lesbian, because Adam Lambert is female. We don't have time to show you the pictures of Adam Lambert. We already featured Adam Lambert on one of our videos. You can go to Tricks of the S Trade 2 and you'll find that. I think it's called Dolls Lambert 8 or something like that. So, but here we're more interested in Brian May, because Brian May is 100% female. As you can see, acute Q angle is below the crotch. 100% female. Brian May. Another picture. Brian May again, as you can see right here, the pictures do not lie. But this special design clothing of Brian May makes you believe that the crotch is right around here when it's up here. See that? That's where his crotch is at. That's where her crotch is at, because it's actually a she. Brian May, 100% female. Acute Q angle below the crotch. The hips do not lie, like Shakira said, but Shakira was a boy. Let's go. Here's another picture of Brian May, even though this one is in black and white, not very clear, but you can tell that this hip is very, very wide. Too wide to be male, because it's actually female in Brian May. And the crotch is right around here, but with the specially designed sewing of these pants, you think it ends right here, but it's right around here. The acute Q angle is below the crotch, because Brian May is 100% female. And here is a picture of Brian May with her mom. All right, when she was much more younger. We pulled this one out. As you can see, this is a female right here by the face. This is not a boy. Female, Brian May. And we'll show you another picture of Brian May real quick. All right, another picture of Brian May. As you can see right here, Brian May is 100% female. Look at the way she sits. Because when a woman sits, the pelvic travel on a chair is way too long. Look at all this travel from here up there. Look at that. All the curves. Look at that. The travel position of the hip is way too long because a female pelvis is longer and wider for childbirth, for conception. And this is what Brian May is exhibiting right here, because Brian May is 100% female. Wide pelvic travel sitting in the chair. And look at how she crosses those legs with a full thigh being exposed, because Brian May is 100% female. Brian May of Queen. With that, let's continue on. So the next person on our roll call is attributed to be the fastest woman in the world. Nobody has broken the record that this so-called woman set, but it's actually a man. And the name of the person is Florence Griffith Joyner. They call her Flojo. All right. So here we go. So as you can see, the widest position in this hip of Florence Griffith Joyner is above the crotch, not below it like a female should be. And look at the way that Florence Griffith Joyner is trying to place her hands on the female waist, but it does not exist. Rather, it's placing it at the male waist, because Florence Griffith Joyner, Flojo, was 100% male. So the record that Florence Griffith Joyner won as the fastest woman alive in history was actually done by a man, because Florence Griffith Joyner here is actually male, and the government did not tell you. So Florence Griffith Joyner here was probably offed so that people wouldn't have time later on to figure things out and know that this was actually a man and not a woman, who was pushed upon you and made for you to believe was actually female. Let's continue with some more pictures of this man. And here is Flojo again. As you can see, the straight back of a man. There's no arch in the back. Straight up and down. Here's how men get fooled about pictures. Alright? Because men and people haven't been taught that is your skeleton which makes you the gender that you claim. So when you look at a man with breast and a butt like this, you actually think it's female. Now, what's going to happen with the later generations after this, if they can't even distinguish to know what's a woman from a man? That means they are headed for a very sad destination. This world is going to drift into something that people never imagined, because people do not seek the Creator. So the straight back of a man right here, as you can see, shows you 100% the straight pelvis of a man. There is no tilted pelvis here, because Florence Griffith Joyner, Flojo, was actually a man. The makeup could fool you, but the skeletal structure here shows you. But if you're busy looking at this and looking at all these fake attributes, you would be fooled. All right, let's continue on. Flojo again, Florence Griffith Joyner, straight back of a man running. So all that energy that she had to run was because it was male. It would have been on a whole lot of steroids also. Because as with transgenders, they have to take a whole lot of steroids and hormones to maintain the fake gender that they claim. It's a sad reality, but this is what people have accepted. It's so sad. People now accept homosexuals as friends. They keep company with homosexuals. They say, well, I don't support the lifestyle, but they are my friends. You are going to hell, which is right behind you. Right behind you. So, as you can see right here, Flojo has the straight back of a man because it's 100% man and was never female. Same again here, as you can see. Straight back of a man. Straight up and down back. There's no arch in that back. And remember what we did tell you about how a female's bum line, all right, is very close to where our hip position is. And that if it's a man, the hip position, all right, will be so far away from the bum line. And this is what FloJo is exhibiting. The hip is right around here. The bum line is right around here. Because FloJo is 100% male. And here's a picture of FloJo on the popular milk magazine, all right, or milk ads that which were trying to make a lot of albino people to take milk, because people who are albino have a degraded form of protein in the body, so they have to constantly eat a lot of protein to be healthy, unlike black people, people with woolly hair, all right, who don't require that much protein to be sustainable for themselves. So that's why for black persons, if you're eating a lot of protein, you're gonna get fat very, very quick, because you don't need to eat that much protein, because your body is functioning at optimal levels. I'm not talking about mixed individuals here, or people who think they are black but they're not, because once your hair cannot be set in place, does not come off, if you put it in a cornrow weave, if your hair comes off without you having to pull it out, it means that you're not black. You can go do that test, or go back to roll call 1 and watch where we gave you the hair test for you to figure out if you're really black or not. So, but with FloJo here on this popular milk ads that has been running for so long, and I don't know if it still runs. Can somebody tell me? Okay. You're not sure? Okay. All right. So we're not sure if it still runs, but regardless, right here, what you're seeing is that FloJo has a straight back, and this milk ads, or the people who ran milk, never told you that FloJo was a man. So what else are they hiding from you? Can you see how crazy this conspiracy is? Straight back of a man, FloJo, 100% male. Some more pictures of FloJo. Here's FloJo again running. As you can see, there is no tilted pelvis here. It's the straight up and down pelvis of a male. And look at all the muscular structure showing here, because these are the muscles of a man. And the highest position in this crotch is above the crotch. It's not below it like it should be for a female. It's above. It's right here. Because FloJo is 100% male. Was never female in any way. Another picture of FloJo with the so-called Al Joyner. The so-called brother of Al Joyner in Jackie Joyner Kersee was also a man as he is. So it ran in the family. All males. And here with FloJo, still showing you the straight back of a man. Now, don't worry about this picture and the way it looks. It's Photoshop. That's why it has all this, all right? But regardless, FloJo has the straight back of a man, because he is 100% male and was never a female. And her so-called husband here in Al Joyner never told you that. Here's another picture of FloJo again. So after a period of time, you know, FloJo said that she was becoming a Muslim and started wearing all this fake Muslim garb. That's because it was becoming very noticeable, all right, that FloJo was male. People were seeing it. In order for the children of Satan to be deceived, that there is something good that can come out of government and this world, they cooked up a story and made FloJo to cover up, so that you wouldn't be able to see what you were seeing earlier before, that this is actually the masculine structure of a male. This is how deceptive government is. Because they're the ones who created FloJo and put him here. And probably killed him also. Under some sort of crazy whatever story they want to cook up. Because they didn't want you to find out that the fastest woman in the world who ran the athletics and the Olympics was actually male. Cover up. But regardless, as you can see here, the way FloJo places his hands on those hips is the location for the male hip. It's not the female location, which should be up here. And you can see the straight back of a man with no arch, because Flojo was 100% male, was never a female. Let's continue on some more pictures of Flojo. And here is Flojo now with Jackie Joyner Kersee. On the Sports Illustrated magazine that you read every day, they are busy lying to you because it's owned by the government. You have people put in place. So this is why I want you to understand how wicked this system is. There are people working, real people working for all these people. They have never ever mentioned the fact to you that they're working for transgenders. Why is that the case? Because there is benefit in wickedness. People benefit from doing wicked things. As long as your only point of duty is the benefit, you are a wicked person. There is no wrong in benefiting from what you're doing. But if you're benefiting from what you're doing at the detriment of another human being, at you being wicked to another human being, you are wicked yourself. And here's what Sports Illustrated. Because Sports Illustrated, everything that you use, it's run by the government under false representation. They'll put up a name and say this person owns this and that. Those people are just the faces. They are not the owners. That's how this system works, by false representation of the public. So they'll say this person owns Jack in the Box. This person owns McDonald's. This person owns Walmart. This person owns a bank like Bank of America, or a consortium owns Bank of America. They say this person owns General Motors. This person owns Toyota. This person owns Ebony Life magazine. This person owns BET. This person owns Fox, ESPN, so on and so forth. This person owns a stadium. They are all the faces of the government because the government owns everything. So since they own everything, the public is falsely represented by these organizations. So these organizations will speak on behalf of the public because the public has been hoodwinked to believe that these organizations speak for them, that they represent them, when they only represent the government. So whatever policies they pass and do, they pass on the false representation that they are representing you. So that's how the government can falsely represent the public and pass laws onto the public, which the public never signed up for. Case and point in Sports Illustrated right here. Putting up two men because they know that Flojo and Jackie Joyner Kersee, who were in-laws, were actually men with straight backs of a male. Flojo and Jackie. This is how despicable this system is. Let's continue on. So, still on Flojo, and here's a picture. So you can deny. We want to show you over and over again. Hand position, male waist. That's where the male waist is. Straight back. 100% man, not a woman. Another picture, as you can see running here, where is the hip position? Above the crotch, not below it. 100% man, straight back of man, no arch. Flojo, 100% male. Another picture right here, and look at that. Straight back, no arch. Hips above the crotch. Hand position, male, straight back, because Flojo's 100% man, was never a woman. So welcome to our presidential check time, and the first president in this particular part of roll call that we're doing a presidential check on is Dwight Eisenhower. So Dwight Eisenhower was a president of the United States. Time period we're not sure. We don't have the time to give the time period. You can go look up Dwight Eisenhower and see what time period or the years that he was president. But what they never told you was that Dwight Eisenhower was 100% female and not a man in any way. So here's the first picture of Dwight Eisenhower that we're taking a good look at. As you can see, Dwight Eisenhower, all right? The particular point at where she is wearing these pants, these specially designed pants, shows you that she has a very, very long pelvis. As you can see, the length of travel of that pelvis comes all the way down to here, because this is where the crotches actually is for Dwight Eisenhower, because Dwight Eisenhower is 100% female. So people, you have to ask yourself this question: if the government can put females in the White House and they haven't told you, the whole machinery of government, the justice system, the cops who stop you day and night on the streets for nothing, did not arrest an imposter in the White House who lied to the people. She lied that she was male when she's not. I want you to think about what the government is actually doing to you. If they can lie to you about the highest position of office, as we have come to believe in the United States president, in the whole entire world, what do you think they are lying to you about that you don't know? Crazy, right? All right, let's continue on. But what we want to show you right here, first of all, is that Dwight Eisenhower is placing her hands at the female waist location. This is not a male waist. You can see how long this pelvis travels all the way down. It's too long, and you can see the pelvic tilt, because Dwight Eisenhower is 100% female. This hand location is where the female waist location is, because this woman's navel in Dwight Eisenhower, the president of the United States, is right around here. Right around here. And women usually place their hands above the navel, because that's where your waist is. All right, some more pictures of Dwight Eisenhower. Dwight Eisenhower still doing the same thing. See that? That's the female location for the waist. Eisenhower's navel will be right around here. You can see the curves, the arch in the back. You can see how the hips are spreading from there. And this man in Billy Graham, well, Billy Graham is actually a woman also, but he said that he was preaching the gospel, the truth. He never told you that Dwight Eisenhower is a woman and not a man. And these are the people who make all the laws, who don't pay you for the work that you do, who deliberately give jobs to albinos, anybody with straight hair, and all the positions that they claim, which they do not get by merit, but because albinos are genetically dumb and will follow strict adherence to rules and impose more wickedness on society. These are the people who make it possible, so that there is strict rigidity and wickedness. And meanwhile, the people who are making all the inventions, where they get all the knowledge from to run the world, to give you your iPhones, cell phones, the TVs that you watch, all the technology that you enjoy, they harass and they don't pay them enough. They don't even give them jobs. They are looked upon as the debased of society. I want to ask you a question. Do you think that you are going to be doing fine because they have taken the benefits from the people who worked for it, who created it, and given to you as an albino to enjoy? Do you think that there are no repercussions? Do you think there's no creator watching? Because you are taking those benefits and abusing the people who created it. You have no respect for them. A lot of people will say, well, I am not the one, especially if you're an albino, who is doing all of this to black people. I haven't done anything wrong. You have done something wrong because you have refused to do nothing about it. Refusing not to do anything about the truth, about what you know is wicked, means that you are a wicked person yourself. If you stand by and you see an innocent man get killed, and you know for sure that person was innocent, all right, and you did not say anything to help that innocent man from being killed, you did nothing about it, you are as responsible as the person who did the killing, because you did nothing about it. Let's continue with some more pictures of Dwight Eisenhower here. So here's Dwight Eisenhower again. As you can see, Dwight Eisenhower is trying to find the male waist, but it doesn't exist because Dwight Eisenhower is 100% female. See the way she places those hands on those hips? Is trying to mimic how a man would place his hands, but it doesn't exist because Dwight Eisenhower is 100% female. A United States president, a general of the army. Remember that. They say Dwight Eisenhower was a general. So if the army can lie to you about the identity of their general, what do you think the army is doing? Are they working in your own best interest, or are they tools of Satan, the government, to use to change times, to change people, to change places to suit their narrative? All right, let's continue with some more pictures of Dwight Eisenhower. But for this one, you can see that the pelvic location travels way too long. It's way too long to be male. Male don't have a length of travel for a pelvis this long. And look at where Dwight Eisenhower's crotch is. The length of travel of that pelvis is way too long. It should be shorter if this was male, because Dwight Eisenhower is 100% female. Was never a man, a United States president in the White House. Wow. Let's continue on. Here's Dwight Eisenhower with the man that was called Richard Nixon, also a United States president. As you can see right here, the way Dwight Eisenhower sits in this chair, this bum is way too long. The travel time, the length of the butt sitting in the chair is way too long. A man's butt is not this long sitting in a chair. It's going to start quickly and end quickly because a man has a very short pelvis. Since Dwight Eisenhower has a long pelvis, as all females usually do, so that a baby can stay inside the womb for the time of conception that a baby stays in there. When a woman sits in a chair, her butt travel in the chair is longer because Dwight Eisenhower here is 100% female. So that's why this length of butt travel is this long in here. Dwight Eisenhower, 100% female. Let's go to another picture of Dwight Eisenhower. See, the same thing happens here. Dwight Eisenhower is trying to find the male location for the waist, but it doesn't exist. See, there's an arch in that back with the way this back is traveling. Tries to put his hands there, but it doesn't exist. Rather, what he comes in contact with is the wide pelvis of a female, because Dwight Eisenhower is 100% female. Was never a man. Let's go to another picture. Dwight Eisenhower again. We showed you this picture earlier with Billy Graham, who's also a female. We featured him, or her rather, on one of the videos that we have on our channel, so you can go take a look. And Dwight Eisenhower here. Look at where that hand is. That's the female location for the waist, because Dwight Eisenhower is 100% female. Was never a man. Dwight Eisenhower still trying to do the same thing, and you can see the Q angle now starts showing very much here. Let's try to blow this up as much as we can so you can see it. See that? The Q angle is acute right there, which is below the crotch. And she is still trying to put her hands on the male waist, which doesn't exist, because that's the female hips and not a male waist. Because Dwight Eisenhower here, a general in the United States Army, was 100% female and not male. Wow. Let's continue on. Dwight Eisenhower again. Look at that. Look at that. That's the female location for the waist. And look at the arch. Can you see the curves right here showing? Look at that. Look at all that curves. Hourglass figure. Because Dwight Eisenhower is 100% female. See that? Look at that. Look at the way it curves and bends. The hips start spreading all the way out. Because Dwight Eisenhower was 100% female. And all the so-called United States president today who always tell you that they're outstanding members of society trying to stand for justice and truth in America, they never told you that Dwight Eisenhower was a woman. What are they telling you now? All right. This is people who believe in the United States, because the world has been made to believe that the United States is the outstanding member of the world, is the outstanding country of the world who stands for justice and peace. And everywhere the United States goes, there must be justice and peace because it's the United States. And they have a female in the White House, not one, not two, not three, so many of them. And they never told you this. What kind of justice and peace are they transporting around the world in the name of their false democracy? Who do you think is really running the United States? These people who can't even figure out the agenda, who are confused about the agenda from morning to night? Because if you're a homosexual or you're a transgender, your brain activity is at an all-time low. You are a complete dummy. You don't even have time to know what you're looking like. You don't have time to remember what you ought to be doing because you're busy every day trying to stay in an agenda that's not yours. And these are the people you believe actually run the United States. If they are transgender, as we're showing you, they don't even know what time it is. Talk less of running the United States. They're just the face of it. Because Satan is the one running it through the families who run the world through the Vatican. Let's continue with some more pictures of Dwight Eisenhower. Here's Dwight Eisenhower, and here is clear as night and day. We don't have to do anything else. As you can see right here, Dwight Eisenhower's hands follows the contours of the body, and you can see the hourglass figure and the acute Q angle below the crotch. See that? This is the crotch of Dwight Eisenhower. The Q angle, very acute, because the female has a much more acute Q angle. The Q angle is the angle between the hip and the knee. And for females, it's very acute because the pelvis is wider. As you can see right here, this is what Dwight Eisenhower, a United States president, is exhibiting. Arms are following the curves of the body, hugging it. See the arch, and see this is where the female pelvis starts, and see how long the length of travel is all the way down here to where it ends. Because Dwight Eisenhower, the United States president, was 100% female, was never a man. This man could not have been responsible for all the policies that run the United States, because she's very confused. Day and night, she's wondering, what gender am I? Am I man? Am I woman? They don't have time to think about anything else. That means that she was just the face of the real people behind it. And you guys are not interested in knowing the face. You guys are not interested in knowing the names, because we would tell you the names. We have the names and addresses of these people. We can tell you what you're doing every day. We could tell you all where they are going to, their travel time and everything else. But people are not interested in knowing the truth. Why are they not interested in knowing the truth? Because what people want us to tell them is this. They just want us to say, okay, this is the name of the person running the world, or these are the families running the world. These are their names, and these are their affiliates. That would be stupid of us to do so. Because why? If you walked up to the person and said, you are the one doing all this, you are the ones responsible for committing all these atrocities or doing so and so forth, they are going to ask you, what's your proof? And you say, Tricks of the Estrate said so. That's what people will say. Tricks of the Estrate said so. They said that you are the one committing all these atrocities. Oh man, that's what most dummies will say. Tricks of the Estrate said so, and we trust his word. And they say, well, you probably don't have any proof, so what you're saying is a lie, and they'll probably take you to jail, all right, because they have all the power and put you in jail. But when you understand the history and the stories, the real history of our world, and you understand how everything works, and you're able to explain it with facts and evidence and give it to them so that they can see literally, all right, that there is no escape, then you can walk up to them and tell them, these are the facts that we have on you that show that you are the one doing all this. So throwing out names right here and saying these are the families that do this and do that is not going to help you. It's only going to breed rumors because you don't know the facts. And the facts, as we have stated, is on none of these videos right here. If you want to know the facts, you'll know how to get it if you really want it. But for now, you don't understand the whole story. So you're just going to have names, and you're going to be throwing out names with no facts. And it's going to lead to more problems instead of solutions. So let's continue on. So next on our presidential check is President Harry S. Truman. Wow. It seems like almost every United States president seemed to be female. Wow. All right. So let's go. This Harry S. Truman right here with Dwight Eisenhower. I don't know who was the first president at any point in time. If it was Dwight Eisenhower before Harry S. Truman, or it was Harry S. Truman before Dwight Eisenhower, or if there was such a thing as one of them being president and the other was vice president. There are more surprises along the way, as you're going to find out that a president and vice president were actually not the gender they claimed. We'll get to that soon. But for now, we're looking at Harry S. Truman. And let's continue with some more pictures of Harry S. Truman. But first of all, I want you to notice that Harry S. Truman has a very acute Q angle. The angle between the hip and the knee. Because Harry S. Truman is 100% female. Was never a man in the United States presidency. And none of your so-called truth tellers ever came out jokingly and told you in a joke that Harry S. Truman was a woman. All right, let's continue on. Here's Harry S. Truman, and what we want you to notice that Harry S. Truman has an arch in the back. So looking at this picture, this happens to be Winston Churchill, right? Winston Churchill, I think, was a prime minister of Great Britain during the Second World War. So it would mean that Winston Churchill here, who has been touted to us in history as being one of the great men who led the Western world during the World War. He never mentioned the fact that Harry S. Truman, that he was parlaying around with in order to form the alliance that took over Germany during the Second World War, as we're told, was a woman. Winston Churchill never mentioned this. But there is an arch in the back here showing you that Harry S. Truman is a woman. Let's continue on. Here's Harry S. Truman again, and the acute Q angle is below the crotch because Harry S. Truman is 100% female. In the White House, that's the White House behind. What kind of upstanding society? Because the world has been soaked in to believe that the United States of America is run by God. They call it God's own country. But yet the level of wickedness and atrocity that goes on in the United States of America reeks to the high heavens. People are no longer human. In the United States, the only thing that matters is what the law says. There's no human sympathy. People are run by laws, especially the albinos, who believe that the law is right and good. So whatever the law says, it's right and upstanding. And since they are genetically dumb, they don't have enough to think. They are genetically dumb and cannot think. They follow and keep adherence to these strict laws, which heaps more wickedness and misery upon the population. That is the reason why an albino is in the place that they are, because they are genetically dumb and will only follow instructions. And don't you worry about everything we're saying, because most people always get, mad. They get annoyed when we say albinos are genetically dumb. We are going to show you with proof later on in the video. Now is not the time to talk about it, because when we start talking about it, we're going to show you with facts. We've already been showing you with facts right from roll call 1. We're still going to show you with more facts as we go down the road. So stick around, okay? So people believe that the United States, everybody around the world, people believe this because the government, all the governments of the world have agreed, because they work with Satan, to paint the United States in this manner, that it is the greatest country in the world, and to make every boy and every child in the world to dream of being an American. Why is that? Because America is used to socially engineer the whole world into wickedness, so that you become as wicked as they are, because you are looking up to wickedness in the United States. That's what's going on. Let's continue with some more pictures of Harry S. Truman. Here is Harry S. Truman sitting on a horse. As you can see, the way Harry S. Truman sits, even though this picture is in black and white, is very blurry. If you follow my mouse, you would notice that Harry S. Truman has an arch in the back, and the sitting position, the butt travel on the seat on this horse, is way too long for it to be male, because Harry S. Truman is 100% female. So all this point right up here is all the pelvis of a female. So a female sits longer in a chair than a man. So how are you going to notice this? So take a man and a woman, okay, of the same height, and sit them in a chair, and see which one will sit higher. The female will sit higher than a man, because a female has a longer torso. A man will sit shorter in a chair. A female will sit higher up, because females have a longer torso, longer travel time to sit in a chair than a man. All right, let's continue with some more pictures of Harry S. Truman. So here is a younger picture of Harry S. Truman. As you can see right here, that's an hourglass figure. Follow my mouse. You see that? Hourglass figure. The arms are hugging the contours of the body, because Harry S. Truman is 100% female. You can see how wide this person is in the midsection of this photo with an hourglass figure. If you're following my mouse, take a good look. Acute Q angle, the angle between the hip and the knee, forming an hourglass, because Harry S. Truman, the United States president, was 100% female. Another man in any way, shape, or form. Let's continue with some more pictures of Harry S. Truman. Here's a picture of Harry S. Truman, and we still show you how long the pelvis is for Harry S. Truman. You can see this is all pelvis from here, following my mouse around, because Harry S. Truman is 100% female. Look at that. The face of a female right there. And this is probably a person who was in the army, as they told you in Harry S. Truman. 100% female. Not a man in any way, shape, or form. And here's Harry S. Truman again. As you can see, that long butt travel, long pelvis is tilted forward, as you can see right here. Pelvic tilt. Long pelvis traveling all the way down, because Harry S. Truman is 100% woman, a United States president. Let's continue on. And here it's as clear as night and day. Harry S. Truman, arch in the back. A woman has an arch in the back because her pelvis is tilted forward. Her pelvis is tilted forward so that the baby can stay inside the womb for the time of conception. The baby stays in there. This is what Harry S. Truman is exhibiting, an arch in the back, because Harry S. Truman, a United States president, was 100% female. Let's continue on. Here's Harry S. Truman. This picture should shut down everything, so that if you were doubting before, you would not doubt anymore. Harry S. Truman here is female. Look at how long the pelvis travels all the way down up to here, because this is all female pelvis area. And look at how it spreads wider as it goes down. It gets wider and wider and wider, because Harry S. Truman is 100% female, was never a man in any way. A United States president. Wow. Okay, let's continue on. Harry S. Truman again. And I want you to see when a female sits. This is the one thing I want you to notice. Just go take a look at how females sit in a chair. When a female sits, the hips just spread out, because the hips need space in a chair. And this is what Harry S. Truman is exhibiting, even though this picture is very blurry. Blurry because the government took it. They don't want you to notice the wide hips of their president, because they put him there. They put her there. Let me say it right, because actually it's she. As you can see right here, follow my mouse. See how wide the hips are right there in the chair? See that? And she starts getting wider from right underneath the rib cage, because the female waist starts right below her rib cage. All that, once you get past the rib cage of a female, that's all pelvis. Pelvis all the way down to the hips. And this is what Harry S. Truman is exhibiting. Pelvis all the way down to the hips, sitting inside the chair, because Harry S. Truman, look at this roundness, is 100% female. A United States president in the White House. The greatest country in the world. The purveyor of immorality, corruption, and wickedness on humanity, used to make every child to look and think like an American, so that they can be corrupt, wicked, and immoral. So that when we're all corrupt, wicked, and immoral, nobody can be able to stand up to the wickedness of government. Everybody will be having pleasure in wickedness, corruption, and immorality. That's what's going on here. That is the reason for the United States. To make all people have an image that they want to be in, which is a deceitful image. Everybody wants to travel to the United States. Everybody wants to come to America. It's touted as the greatest country in the world. All by agreement by all the governments, because all the governments are run by Satan through the families that run the world. All right, here's another picture of Harry S. Truman. As you can see, even though they are trying to make this clothing look bogus, but regardless, it still shows you that Harry S. Truman is 100% female. Because you can see that this man starts getting wider. If this was a man, a real man, he would not start being wider from just around his navel, as females tend to do. So Harry S. Truman here gets wider and wider, and even though this clothing is bogus on the downward side, but you can still see that it's spreading from below where this belt is being hung around her body, because this is the wide pelvic area of a female in Harry S. Truman, a United States president. It's terrible, people, but that it is. See, look, wide spreading hips, because Harry S. Truman is 100% female. Another picture of Harry S. Truman, and you can see that acute Q angle that happens with a female because of the wide hips. And look at the way Harry S. Truman is walking. He's walking in a catwalk manner, because as a woman, because of how wide your hips are, your legs need to do two things to balance your center of gravity because of the wide hips. So the legs need to come inwards into the center of gravity and forward at the same time. So that causes a woman to push all the weight of her body into the leg that is in front of her in a walk, making her to walk in a catwalk manner with swinging hips because of trying to balance the center of gravity. This is what your biological brain does as a woman without you having to do anything about it. And this is what Harry S. Truman is exhibiting. And with arms closely hugging the contours of the body, acute Q angle below the crotch, walking in a catwalk manner as a female should, because Harry S. Truman, a United States president, was 100% female. Our next presidential check right here is President Jimmy Carter. Now, Jimmy Carter was a very popular United States president during his time, and so many world leaders were very, very affectionate towards Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter is still alive as of the 3rd of December 2019. The news says that he was recently in hospital. Recently she was in hospital for a urinary tract infection or whatever. And urinary tract infections are something that usually affect females. So if you've read the news, it means that Jimmy Carter, as we're going to confirm right now, is actually a woman. So the first thing I want you to notice is the way that Jimmy Carter runs. So you have a female over here and you have a man over here. So I want you to see where the Q angle starts for this man. It's higher up above the crotch right here. So let's blow this up as much as we can. So the Q angle is as high up as it can be for a man right here. With Jimmy Carter, it is lower. The Q angle is lower right around here. So you can see that the hip, right? You can see that the hip right now is expanding, right? It's getting wider as it's going down to the crotch, because this is all a female's hips. And below the crotch, as you can see right here, is where Jimmy Carter's Q angle starts, because Jimmy Carter is 100% female. So in what world are we living in? What kind of justice system do we have, especially in the United States, which watches over its citizen, enslaves its citizens? You can't even speak in public loudly. If you went up on the street, on any United States American street, and you stood and you stand and you were shouting, they would call the cops for you for disturbing the peace. You can't even raise your voice in a store without being called to order. You can't even cross the street without cops stopping you. You can't do so many things in the United States, and yet there is a president. People are being elected into public offices who cannot even attest to the agenda as being the agenda they claim. What kind of justice system, what kind of justice is there in the United States of America and the world, in which its public officials lie about the agenda? If they can't tell you the truth about the agenda, what truth do they have to tell you? And yet they are enslaving the public. And these same people, so many people are cheering for, are saying, that is my president. I believe in the United States of America, God's own country. This is what people believe in. What kind of justice system does exist in this world? This is a terrible, terrible association. So if you've ever thought that America was the land of the free, a land in which you have human rights, it's the land that practices wickedness. Practitioners of wickedness live here. They enslave the poor. They use the police to terrorize you so you don't have anything to say. And they keep elected officials as this who are liars in office to keep on perpetuating the same evil. And this is what the whole world has come to believe is the standard human beings to aspire to, the standard for every other country to aspire to being wicked with no culture, no tradition, no emotion. This is what the United States is all about. So if you've been living in any country and you think, oh, I want to be in the United States, I want you to understand you're coming to slavery. You're coming to lies and deception, because the practitioners of wickedness, the people who run this world, want to use the United States to make sure that you become as wicked, immoral, and corrupt as the United States is. So that this one world government, which is already at work, because people don't understand that. It's a one world government. Even though they tell you that they want to do something about the one world government, or that they're trying to make it a one world government, it already is. The only thing that's keeping us from being total slaves is to collect that artificial intelligence chip, which they are social engineering the public for, to accept, in hopes to help the albino weak population, and then the dumb black ones who seek to be albino. We'll get into all that later, but let's continue on with Jimmy Carter. As you can see, Jimmy Carter tries to do the same thing right here that most transgenders, mutilated persons, do if they are female trying to be male. Jimmy Carter right here is trying to put his hand on the male waist, but it does not exist. All what he can find is the female hip point, the wide, humongous hips of a female, childbearing hips. Because as you can see, from here, she gets wider. And that position is not the position for the male waist, because it doesn't exist. Because she's been trained since childhood to be a president. This is what the system does. Everybody that is a leading official in power has been trained since childhood to be there. If you're aspiring to be in public office, you have to be as wicked as these people. And they won't even let you, because it's a lineage thing. Families run the world. If you do not belong to those lineages, or you're not affiliated with them, you can never be in power. So with Jimmy Carter here, you can see that Jimmy Carter's Q angle starts below the crotch. All right, take a good look. It's below the crotch. It's not above. You can see how round these hips are. Even with the small shots, the specially made shots, which is trying to hide the female form of Jimmy Carter, you can still see how the hips are curving right here. They are getting wider. And the Q angle is below the crotch as it starts. Follow my mouse. See how wide the hips are? A man's hips will never be this wide. But you can see that it's expanding and getting wider. And below it is the Q angle, the acute Q angle of a female. And this photo has been photoshopped and done a lot of things to. It's blurry for a reason, because they don't want you to know that this United States president was actually a facade. Here's another picture of Jimmy Carter. And so when you were thinking that you had a heterosexual couple in the White House, it was actually a homosexual couple. Two homosexual lesbians. So with Jimmy Carter here, I want you to notice the way Jimmy Carter walks. See that? He's walking in a catwalk, because Jimmy Carter's Q angle is below the crotch because of the wide hips. So with females, when females walk, because of the wide hips they have, the legs of a female need to do two things. They need to come into the center of gravity, and they need to go forward at the same time. So with that, it causes the woman to lean all the weight of the body into the foot that's in front of her. making her to walk in a catwalk. That's why a woman's hips swing from side to side, because biologically she's managing the center of gravity. And this is what Jimmy Carter is exhibiting. As you can see from this acute Q angle, this curvaceous Q angle, that it's a woman. And also look at the arms. Remember how the arms swing? They're always swinging towards the contours of the body, hugging the body. Because Jimmy Carter here is 100% female. Was in no wise a man. The leader of the free world who touts freedom and preaches democracy to all of you is actually a woman. Jimmy Carter. And no president from any continent ever mentioned this fact to you. What's really going on? Because Satan runs the world. People do not understand. They think that Satan is just something in their mindset, that he doesn't exist. But you're looking at the facts. Have you ever heard the sentence that says, the devil is in the details? Satan is in the details. If you're not paying attention to the details and the facts that's before your eyes, you're not going to see him, because he does not want you to know there's a creator. So he has to act like he does not exist, so you do not know that he does. When the leaders, the families of this world are in constant communication with him, he's telling them what to do. He's the commander general of the whole entire government system of the world, from top to bottom. Let's continue on. Here's Jimmy Carter again. And what do you notice? The arms are following the contours of the body. Look at the Q angle. It's below the crotch. Can you see that? You can't not deny this picture. This is a woman walking. The arms are following the contours of the body, following the hips, because of how curvy she is, because it's actually a she. And look at the Q angle. It's below the crotch. It's not high up. This is Jimmy Carter's crotch. And this is the Q angle below it, starting right there. And look at how he curves. Look at all the curves right there. Let's try to blow this up as much as we can so you guys can see. Look at the curves. Humongous curves, because Jimmy Carter is 100% female. So what truth does the United States tell you? What is it doing to its citizenry? Why is so much enslavement? The cops are hounding you every single day for everything and anything, under being upstanding citizens of the law. What kind of police officers are there? This is why we tell you guys, there are no sincere, honest cops, because they are protectors of evil. You have to see them for what they are. Every cop in the world, they are protectors of evil. They're not protectors of you. They are protecting the wicked people like this, who sit in office and lie to you about their agenda. What are they telling you? What kind of policies are they making if they can't tell you the truth about who they are? Let's continue on. Here's another picture of Jimmy Carter. Same thing again happening here. Trying to place the hand on the male waist, but it does not exist. All he can do, or all she could do, is place her hands on the female hips. This is what Jimmy Carter is doing. Take a look at this. This is no man. This is a woman. Because he can't even grab them waist as a man should. It's grabbing them hips because it's a woman. Take a good look now at that face. That's a woman, a lesbian, a homosexual in the White House in the 1970s. Let's continue on. Take a good look. That's the face of a woman. Carter's warehouse. Look at that. A female. That's why so many United States presidents have been effeminate. And we're going down the list. We're going to go check everyone out, as long as we can get them pictures to show you that these are imposters. There is no truth. There is no justice in the system. If you believed in it and you were upstanding and saying America is the country that we should all aspire to be like, you have been given false hope, because you were not to aspire after anything but after the creator of the heaven and earth. And you have all failed, because you are aspiring after men. And here is Jimmy Carter again. As you can see, the Q angle of a female. And these photos have been specially photoshopped by the very best experts in the system. to lie to you so you do not see that this is a woman, because Jimmy Carter is 100% female. The Q angle is below the crotch. Take a good look at these hips. Take a good look at those hips. See how it curves? And see where the Q angle starts? Very acute below the crotch. Look at that. That's all hip. Huge, humongous hips. You can see this small jutting out right there at the hip position, because that's where the Q angle of Jimmy Carter starts, because Jimmy Carter is 100% female. So that is how stuff goes. And if we were to leave our comment section open, the agents of the government who feel YouTube would leave such comments as saying that Jimmy Carter isn't female. That's why we had to shut down our comment section. We knew that there were agents for a very long time. When our channel became open, we knew how the whole system works. But we allowed it for a time because we wanted to communicate with the people who were interested in truth. But now that we have cemented that fact with facts and truth, there's no denying what we do here anymore. So I'd like to advise those people, those truth seekers out there. A lot of the comments that you read and you respond to, you're responding to agents. They are not just only on YouTube, they are everywhere. So if you get on Twitter, if you get on Facebook or any social media platform, whatever social media platform, as long as a meeting point in which you meet people, a lot of the people you're communicating with are agents of the government. They have filled them in all areas so that they can always give you some sort of false information away from the truth. And these people are paid to do so. The government purveys wickedness. So a lot of the social media startups that you see anywhere around the world, you go to maybe the downtown areas or even in their houses, are all government agents paid and given a curriculum of activities to talk about and to lie about to you every day. So when you get in the comment section or you talk with people online, most of them are government agents paid to confuse you about facts. So don't waste your time narrating the story. Just if you want to talk about anything, just make sure that you have the facts. Don't go wasting your time talking, because they're all agents paid to give us a false reality of a world from what's really going on in what these families of the world are doing, which is sinking the world into satanism and demonic activity every day, so that they can take you to hell with their master Satan, even though Satan has convinced them that hell does not exist. Satan has convinced everyone who's going to hell that it doesn't exist, because they are all filled with demons. Even the people, the paid agents who are online, are demonically influenced. Because if you do not have the truth, I want you to understand this. If you're ignorant and you do not have any truth, the real truth, the only filter of truth, which is the Creator, you are a center of demonic activity. That means demons are using your mind, your body, and your soul to make sure that this system of lies continues. You be confused about so many things because you refuse the truth. You refuse the commandments of the Creator, that you shall not do wickedly to another human being, which is the primary command of the Creator. Because once you do not do wickedness to another human being, you will find your Creator. You are keeping His commandments. Let's continue. And remember, doing wickedness also means not doing wickedness to your own self as well, as a human being. All right, let's continue on. Next person on a roll call is John Malkovich. John Malkovich, as you can see right here, has an arch in the back. And the so-called lady in Uma Thurman never made mention to you in any day at any point in time that she starred in a role with a woman who was pretending to be a man in John Malkovich. John Malkovich has been the center of so many movies for so many years. And all these actresses and actors have never one day mentioned remotely that John Malkovich is a woman. Because when you're up close with a transgender, you're going to know that the person is a transgender no matter what they do or say. It's going to come off and you're going to know this is a woman pretending to be a man. They never told you about this in John Malkovich. Let's continue with some more pictures of John Malkovich. John Malkovich, as you can see right here, has the wide hips of a female with an acute Q angle that's below the crotch, because John Malkovich is 100% woman. And anybody who's associated with her has never told you this. One of the movies I used to love watching was Con Air. I never did imagine that Con Air, starring Nicolas Cage and John Malkovich and Ving Rhames, that John Malkovich was a female. Nobody would believe that, because these people give up a very good performance on set. How are they able to do all this to convince you totally on set that they are anything but the gender they claim? Because the government who makes all these transgenders and uses them to influence your world in the worship of their trinity of Satan infuse them with demons and drugs. And as we've explained earlier, demons are in everything. They control all aspects of human life. So if you do not have the filter, the truth, a demon will always be controlling your life in one way, shape, or form. And the truth is not Jesus, is not Yehoshua, is not Jesus, is not Yah, is not the Most High, it's not Lord, it's not God, it's a creator. Here's John Malkovich sitting, and as you can see how wide these hips are in the sit and the way this so-called man crosses her legs. Can you notice that? See how it spreads wider from underneath the elbows, as all females should. See that? Because John Malkovich is 100% female. Look at how the cross of the legs are. Just see how wide the hips go down. Look at that. All female. Here's John Malkovich again. As you can see, that acute Q angle. And you know, all this is specially designed clothing to hide the female form of John Malkovich. The clothing that she's wearing, all specially designed to hide the hips. Because John Malkovich is 100% female. The acute Q angle is below the crotch. And look at that. Just take a good look at this. Can you see how unsymmetrical the chest of John Malkovich is? Because this is a female chest, it's not a male chest. Females have unsymmetrical chest because as a woman, just the way the Creator designed the woman, one breast is usually larger than the other, causing for the unasymmetry of the chest of a woman. With males, because the male chest does not have any mammary gland, active mammary glands. The chest is even, it's symmetrical in design. And look at John Malkovich. Look at the arch. Look at that. See that? There's an arch in that back, a C-shaped arch in the back. And she gets wider from below the pelvis because John Malkovich here is 100% female. Here's John Malkovich again, still showing you that acute Q angle below the crotch because John Malkovich is 100% female and not a man in any way, shape, or form. So all the superstars and all the accolades and all the awards that John Malkovich has received, they never ever mention the fact to you that you were looking at a female who's been parading around as a man. See that? Same thing again. Look at that chest. That is the chest of a woman who is on a lot of drugs that have prevented the chest from growing naturally like a female chest should grow with mammary glands for breast milk. But the form hasn't changed because this man here is a woman. And this actor is another good actor in Hollywood. Never mentioned the fact. John Malkovich, as you can see right here again, the acute Q angle that's below the crotch. Because John Malkovich is 100% female. Can you see that acute Q angle? Let's blow this up so you guys can see. See that? Acute Q angle below the crotch. See how wide the hips are? And the acute Q angle is below the crotch because John Malkovich is 100% female and never a man. Let's go to some other pictures. You know how recently the government through its media tries to make you think that a man can have female hips. You've heard such thing as that. A man having female hips. But there's no such thing because they're trying to make you confused about what you're seeing. That these people are not the gender they claim. And why is the government trying to confuse you not to understand what you're looking at when you look at these men who are women? It's because they worship Satan. At all times, the government has to worship Satan because this is where they get all the source of power and wealth that they need. So they can't change that. They know that they're worshiping Satan and they know that you people don't understand. So they have to make up lies to deceive you because they have to continue worshiping Satan if they have to continue being in power. If those families have to continue ruling the world through the Vatican, they still have to continue being in power. They have to continue worshiping Satan. Otherwise, all that power and wealth that they have, in which they own everything in the world, own all of humanity, will not be successful. And here, Bruce Willis, who's actually male, never mentioned the fact that he had been acting with the woman in John Malkovich. So when you see all this kind of, dressing on John Malkovich, eccentric clothing on John Malkovich in movies, is because they're trying to cover up the fact that it's a woman. There is no reason why the costume designer should make him or make her rather wear this kind of horrendous clothing in a movie. But they're trying to cover up the female form because it's all an act. Even the costume designers are in on it. Crazy, right? Let's go to another picture of John Malkovich. And here's John Malkovich. As you can see, the hips, super humongous hips. You can see, right? Hourglass figure, super humongous hips of a female. This is what John Malkovich exhibits because John Malkovich is 100% female.